We don't know where she is. I mean, the only thing we can think is that maybe she went out running and someone snatched her. One of her friends had a key. We went inside and tried to see if there was anything amiss, but I mean, she had a door jamb that was sitting right by it, so there was no sign that anyone broke in. I mean, the door was locked when everyone got here. I mean, we just don't know where she is.
Lauren Giddings was born on April the 18th, 1984, in Tacoma Park, Maryland, to parents Karen and Bill. She was the eldest of three sisters, and Sarah and Caitlin adored her. Lauren had always been the leader of the three, the one her sisters looked up to. Growing up, she thrived in school and sports. Teachers remembered her as hard-working and driven. Friends described her as outgoing, funny, and loyal. Butterbean, her small dog, was her constant companion. Friends joked that you couldn't have a conversation with Lauren without Butterbean being mentioned at least once. In 2008, she moved to Macon, Georgia, enrolling at Mercer University School of Law. Lauren's goal was to become a public defender. She wanted to help people who couldn't afford lawyers, people society often forgot about. That sense of justice defined her character. Lauren moved into Barristers Hall, an apartment complex designed for law students, just across from Mercer's campus. The units were small, but safe and filled with fellow students. For Lauren, it was perfect. Close to classes, close to friends, and affordable. Lauren had been in a long-term relationship with attorney David Vandiver. David was significantly older than her, by more than a decade, but the two shared a deep bond, built on trust, encouragement, and love. They first met while Lauren was still in law school. David was already established in his career and admired Lauren's drive and her compassion for others. The couple spent weekends together when their schedules allowed. Despite the age gap, her family accepted David because it was clear how much he cared for Lauren. Lauren often confided in David about her fears, including her growing unease that someone might have been in her apartment. He reassured her, but also encouraged her to stay alert. June 2011 marked the culmination of years of sacrifice. Lauren graduated from Mercer University School of Law, walking across the stage in her cap and gown, her family beaming with pride in the audience. David was there, and so was Butterbean, her constant companion. Photos from that day capture Lauren smiling, surrounded by those who loved her the most. She wasn't just celebrating the end of school, she was celebrating the start of her future. But reality set back in quickly. The bar exam loomed, and Lauren dedicated herself to a serious study routine. Friends described her as laser-focused, rising early, studying late, and living off coffee and determination. Still, something unsettled her. Lauren told her sister Caitlin that she was convinced that someone had been inside her apartment while she was out. On June 25th, she sent an email to her friends, letting them know she'd be off the grid to study. It was considerate, thoughtful, classic Lauren. No one could have known that would be the last time anyone ever heard from her. In the days after that email, Lauren went silent. At first, her friends and family thought nothing of it. She had warned them that she'd be off the radar. But by the 27th of June and the 28th, concern started to grow. Lauren was someone who always checked in. She hadn't even responded to Caitlin, who had just sent her photos from her honeymoon. That was unusual. By June the 29th, people were alarmed. Her car was still parked outside her apartment, untouched. Butterbean hadn't been walked or fed, which friends knew was completely unlike her. That day, her friend Ashley used a spare key to get into her apartment. Inside, everything looked almost too normal. Her purse, her phone, and her laptop were still there. She was supposed to be moving out the next day, so the place wasn't packed up yet. But it wasn't in disarray either. The only thing missing was Lauren. After spending more time searching and contacting people she knew, the next day the police were called. When they arrived, they began to look for signs of what might have happened. At first, there was no sign of a struggle. No broken windows, no forced entry, nothing disturbed. But when luminol was sprayed in the bathroom, investigators made a chilling discovery. The tub had once been full of blood. Police were now looking for Lauren's body. June 30th was hot. When police went outside, they noticed a strong smell coming from the dumpsters. This was a familiar smell, a smell that couldn't be forgotten. Officers followed the foul odour. Wrapped in plastic, they found the dismembered torso of a young woman. It was Lauren. The chief medical examiner confirmed that there were no signs of sexual assault, but could not confirm a cause of death. But they believed she had been killed and dismembered on June the 26th, most likely in her bathtub. Outside the apartment, the police had sectioned everything off and did not want to reveal to the public that they had found a body, as they suspected if the perpetrator lived in the complex, then they did not want to alert them, as they may run, harm themselves, or destroy evidence. Detectives quickly looked at those closest to her. All her friends gave statements. David, her boyfriend, was across the country at the time. An ex-boyfriend was also ruled out. But suspicion soon turned towards Barristers Hall itself. Every tenant allowed investigators into their apartments, except one. Lauren's neighbour, 25-year-old Stephen McDaniel. McDaniel was a fellow law student, living just feet from her front door. He had a reputation for being socially awkward, eccentric, even strange. He had been there in the initial searches for Lauren. He had even been asked to come to the station only a few hours before to talk to the police.
With me is her next door neighbor who lives in apartment 4. Can I get your last name?
McDaniel. Stephen McDaniel.
When was the last time you think you seen Lauren?
It was either last week or the week before that. I was coming back from bar prep and I was driving back and I saw her going out to run.
Is there anything that you could tell me today or add to your statement that could help me locate Lauren?
I can't think of anything. I mean, we looked around to see if there was a note or if there was anything, but there was just nothing that we could find to try and figure out where she was.
Police continued searching the complex, but made sure they had eyes on McDaniel. His behaviour became stranger by the minute. He kept hanging around, looking at what the police were doing, even talking to the media, who were now reporting from outside.
We don't know where she is. I mean, the only thing we can think is that maybe she went out running and someone snatched her. One of her friends had a key. We went inside and tried to see if there was anything amiss, but I mean, she had a door jamb that was sitting right by it, so there was no sign that anyone broke in. I mean, the door was locked when everyone got here. I mean, we just don't know where she is.
Whatever they recovered from there.
Body?
Had you heard it? Had you seen anything there? Had you seen anything there? I mean, we don't know if this is the same person. You know what I mean? Like, they took out a body there earlier. We don't know if it's the same person or not. So that's why we're trying to ask people if they know who lived there. Are you okay, sir?
I think I need to sit down.
Okay.
Up to this point, it had not been officially made public that the police had found human remains. McDaniel's reaction was noticeable. He sat blankly, staring. His demeanour had visibly changed. Hours later, he allowed police into his apartment to be searched. What they found was disturbing. Inside the apartment was a stockpile of packaged food and weapons. The police also found some condoms. When they showed them to McDaniel, he acted oddly, talking about how he could not get any dates. He then bizarrely admitted that he had broken into a neighbour's apartment and stole them from there. With this admission, police arrested him and took him to the station to be questioned. By the time he had begun to be questioned, he completely shut down and was no longer chatty. Instead, he became eerily monotone, still and unsettling in his responses.
All right. I just got to ask you a few more questions.
Okay.
You came down earlier tonight, me and you talked, all right. You don't have any weapons on you, do you?
No.
That's just you are. What's wrong? You know I'm Detective Patterson, right?
Yes.
Do you remember? Put your hands up here. You remember us talking? I need to know about this girl right here. You know her?
Yes.
Who is that?
Lauren Giddings.
Does she live next door to you?
Yes.
Okay. Look at me when you talk to me, son. Okay? Was you friends with her?
Yes.
I'm asking you for help. I need your help. Can you help me?
I don't know.
You don't know if you can help me?
Yes.
I need your help. Help me out. Tell me what to do.
As he was held, police continued to search his apartment. They found women's underwear, which was later tested and proven to be Lauren's. Flash drives which would show indecent images of minors, and most damning of all, packaging for a hacksaw. Even more chilling, they learned McDaniel had access to a master key that could open every apartment in the complex. On his computer, they found horrible blogs he had written about women and torture. He had accessed Lauren's Facebook multiple times and was obsessed with her. They also found he had been secretly filming women, including Lauren, with a camera on a pole, peering through windows. Police grew more frustrated with Stephen's non-engagement, so they began to apply pressure.
You got your ass on that fucking news and stood out there and gave a media report that her mother saw. You sure stood out there and ran your mouth to the news media, but now you're gonna get out here and you don't fucking know. You're just a sorry piece of shit that don't give a fuck.
Why would you not be honest with me?
I am being honest.
Stephen, it just doesn't feel like it, buddy. You know, I get the sense that there's something weighing heavy on your heart right now. You're going to look at this right here, this little girl right here, and you're going to say you don't know? I know you know.
I don't know.
Yes, you know. What are you going to say tomorrow when I say we got your hair with the body? I believe that you're a good guy, you've been picked on, girls didn't show you the respect that you deserved, you did something stupid, and I believe you feel bad about it, and that's why you're all freaked out right now. We want you to tell it so that way people understand you're not a monster, things just, you got out of control. It's a sickness. Why'd you do it, Stephen?
I didn't do it.
Stephen, why are you going to keep telling that? You hurt that girl.
No, I didn't.
Yes, you did, Stephen. I'm going to take this from me. You don't deserve to look at it. Just stay right here, okay?
Okay.
I appreciate all your cooperation tonight, okay?
Okay.
Throughout the interview, Stephen barely moved and never admitted to anything. CCTV showed he had gone to the shop to buy the hacksaw. Nearby, in a locked maintenance closet, police found the hacksaw itself, stained with what was eventually proven to be Lauren's blood. Bloody sheets were also found with Lauren's blood. It was now beyond doubt that Stephen McDaniel was her killer. The few people that knew McDaniel said he was weird and a loner. Not somebody they felt comfortable around due to his obsession with death and murder. He was arrogant and thought he was smarter than everyone around him. Near the end of his studies, he had no friends and had no idea what he would do. When he moved next door to Lauren, she felt sorry for him and had tried to befriend him. She even tried to introduce him to her mother when she spotted him walking alone, like he always did. Her mother, Karen, felt unsettled by him and did not like the idea of him living next door to Lauren. He always kept his windows and curtains closed, never letting in any light. Eventually, Lauren felt uncomfortable around him too, thinking he was out to get her. But little did she know, he was already obsessed with her and was stalking her. He had asked her to go out with him a few times, but she refused. On the 2nd of August, 2011, McDaniel was charged with the murder of Lauren Giddings, along with the additional child sex exploitation charges relating to his flash drives. McDaniel pled not guilty. The defense and the prosecution began to build their case.
The case building against Stephen McDaniel and the murder of his neighbor, Lauren Giddings, is getting stronger.
Today, a grand jury announced there's enough evidence to prepare for trial.
1 count of murder and 30 counts of sexual exploitation of children. Those are the heavy charges stacked against McDaniel, who's been in jail since July 1st on unrelated burglary charges. More than 20 grand jurors heard from the district attorney's office this morning before deciding there's enough evidence to let this case go to trial.
The prosecution recognised it was a largely circumstantial case, with nothing linking his DNA to her. Even the hacksaw had none of his DNA on it. They could not also prove the cause or time of death. But what they did have was overwhelming in terms of indicating he most likely did murder and dismember Lauren. More disturbing evidence was then presented during trial. On a memory card found in his possessions, there was a video showing Stephen stalking Lauren, filming through the window outside her apartment. Lauren had previously confided to friends that she felt she was being watched. This proves she was right. He had duct taped his camera to the end of a wooden pole and held it up to the window so he can film her room through her blinds. On the 7th of August, 2011, Lauren was laid to rest in her hometown of Laurel, Maryland. Hundreds attended the service and spoke about how wonderful Lauren was. Although they could only bury her torso, her family commented that her spirit was all around. Stephen's defense team tried to position the ridiculous idea that he was being framed by the police and that they had entered his apartment many times without his knowledge. The prosecution was going for the death penalty, but the defense were trying to have that dropped. The prosecution eventually agreed to drop the child exploitation charges and offered him a plea deal. This meant Stephen would have to change his plea. Finally, in 2014, days before his trial, McDaniel pleaded guilty.
For nearly 3 years, 2 huge unanswered questions hung over the death of Lauren Giddings. What happened the night she died and what happened to the rest of her body, since only her torso was found after the murder. Today, Stephen McDaniel spelled out the answers to those questions in chilling detail. As part of his plea deal with prosecutors, McDaniel agreed to write an allocution, a document detailing what he did and how.
He admitted he had broken into Lauren's apartment in the early hours of June 26th, strangled her as she fought desperately for her life, and then dismembered her with a hacksaw. In his plea deal, he had to admit to the court what he did that day. This was what he said happened. At around 4:30 a.m., he unlocked the door using the master key. He was wearing all black with gloves and a mask. He stood watching her sleep, but she must have felt something wrong as she woke up abruptly. Before she could get out of bed, he leapt onto her and put his arms around her throat. They struggled and fell onto the floor. Lauren grabbed his mask and pulled it off, and when she realized it was him, she called his name and screamed at him to stop. She cried and tried to fight him off for almost 15 minutes as he was strangling her, before she stopped breathing. He then dragged her into the bathroom and put her into the tub. He left her there for the rest of the night and the next day, and on the evening of June 27th, he returned with some tools, including the hacksaw, and proceeded to dismember. He put parts of her into different bags, which he said he dumped in bins around the university campus. But her torso he put into the bin next to the apartment block thinking it would be taken in a couple of days. He cut up his mask, gloves, and shirt and flushed them down the toilet. He said he did not sexually assault Lauren. She was wearing pink running shorts when she died, and he never removed them. These were found on her torso. The details he revealed were shocking. No one can understand how he could do that to Lauren, who had been nothing but kind to him. Stephen McDaniel was sentenced to life in prison, with parole possible in 2041. The only reason he did not get the death penalty was because Lauren herself did not support it when she was alive, so her family respected that decision. They said they hoped he lived a long life in the worst possible way in prison. Once he was sentenced, he wrote a letter claiming police intimidation and that he had an unfair trial. He asked for a new trial. 4 years later, he filed an appeal. But this time, he represented himself. He called over 10 people to be questioned, including his previous lawyer, who he was seeking damages against. Stephen wanted $50,000 from his lawyer for legal fees and $250,000 in punitive damages for his lawyer's alleged negligence.
Graphic, specific, detailed confession, which we were shocked about in the jail. And then combine that with the searches on the internet, the fact that you had done searches about having sex with dead people, things of that nature. All of that combined to a heavy evidentiary problem in your case.
He also filed a motion to Judge Howard Sims, claiming he had shown him prejudice. The appeal was denied. In 2022, he filed another appeal, hoping for his conviction to be quashed. Again, he lost. Lauren's murder devastated her family, friends, and community, but those who loved her refused to let her legacy be defined by her death. Scholarships were established in her name. Pink Wednesdays were created to honor her favorite color and her vibrant personality. An annual memorial run was organized to celebrate her life and raise awareness. Her sister Caitlin later named her daughter Lauren Magnolia, ensuring her big sister's name would carry on into the next generation. But for those closest to her, the grief has never faded. Lauren was so close to beginning the career she had worked tirelessly for, so close to helping people who needed her compassion and strength. She was stolen from them by someone who just lived a few steps away. Lauren's story is heartbreaking because of the brutality of her murder, but it's also heartbreaking because of the promise she held, a promise cut short by evil. We remember not just the victim of a crime, but a daughter, a sister, a friend, and a brilliant young woman who wanted nothing more than to make the world a fairer place. Lauren Giddings should be remembered not for the way it ended, but for the life she lived.